just need to think like PhD is not equal to your life. PhD is just a part of life. First, the most important thing for a PhD student is to learn how to manage time. Statistics is very, very, very important for biological data analysis. So many internship opportunities in IIT, in ICER, in different industries where they offer for biotechnologies, like there are many biotech industries. There are also, you can say, many biotech companies, the pharma companies. Also, there are research institutes all over the.
Hello everyone, welcome to EduCanteen. Today we are going to discuss about career in biotechnology, and for that discussion today we have with us Dr. Priyanka Sharma, and Priyanka is joining with us from UK. So Priyanka ji, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for having me here.
So Priyanka ji, to start the session, we will start with your story. Please share your journey with us.
So yeah, I'm from India. I'm from the northeastern part of India, that is like from Assam. And then the journey from Assam to UK, I would say, has not been very easy. It has involved a lot of hard work and dedication and passion for research. So yeah, currently I'm working as a postdoctoral research associate in the Department of Tropical Disease Biology at Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine, which is in England. And in short, I'll call it LSTM. So in LSTM, I work within the project of antimicrobials, chemotherapy, and the resistance space. And also here, what the work that I am involved in is like I'm screening the microbial isolate library for the production of antimicrobials against drug-resistant pathogens responsible for human diseases. So prior to working in LSTM, I was also working in Cardiff University as a research associate, where I worked on antimicrobials against drug-resistant pathogens. And that particular project was funded by Reckitt Benckiser. And PhD, I have done my PhD from Institute of Advanced Study in Science and Technology, which is a DST institute in Assam. And then there I worked on a group of bacteria known as actinomycetes, which is a gram-positive bacteria. So I screened those actinomycetes for the production of novel antimicrobials. And after that, like before completing my PhD Viva, I was awarded the DBTRA and NPDF, which I took up in ICGEB, New Delhi, which is International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology. So I took up the project in ICGEB in the Malaria Drug Discovery Laboratory, where I studied the antimicrobials for like the antimicrobials were isolated from endophytes. Endophytes are those microorganisms which are present inside the plant, not on the superficial leaf or root. It is present inside the plants. So I isolated the antimicrobials from those plants, and then I screened them against Plasmodium falciparum, which we all know is malaria-causing organism. So yeah, so this has been my journey.
Yeah, very great and very inspiring journey. So now you are discussing about biotechnology. So I want to know from you about the subject of biotechnology. What is the subject and where it is different from the subject microbiology and molecular biology? And also, please, can you share some interesting story or invention from your research?
Yes. So, this biotechnology, microbiology, molecular biology, or you take biochemistry, genetics. So all this comes under the whole umbrella of life sciences. So like, as you asked, like how is microbiology or molecular biology different from biotechnology? So first I will start with microbiology. So microbiology deals with the microorganisms. So what are microorganisms? Those organisms that are visible only under the microscope and not by the naked eye. So the main actors, which I would call as actors, because the main actors of this whole microbiology is like bacteria, fungus, or viruses. So if we study those organisms, the diseases associated caused by those organisms in humans or in plants, in animals, so that's whole branch of biology is known as microbiology. Now, if we look at molecular biology, so molecular biology, it deals with the molecules in the cell, like the DNA, the RNA, the proteins, and how these molecules, that is how this DNA and RNA make a cell to work. So examples are the DNA replication, the transcription, or protein synthesis, which is required for our day. Now, if I compare both of them to biotechnology, so biotechnology involves the use of these living organisms. So involves the use of bacteria or plant. So it involves the use of living organisms or part of their organisms, like the genes. So it is used to make certain useful products. So one example I'll share is insulin. So previously insulin was, I think, produced from pig's pancreas, if I'm not wrong. And for that, large amount of insulin could not be produced. So nowadays, insulin is readily available in the market. And with the higher rise of diabetes, which is a global problem, so people require a lot of, there is a high demand of insulin. So what scientists have done is, now they have genetically modified the bacteria, means they have taken out the gene which is responsible for producing insulin in humans. That particular gene they have taken out and they have inserted it in the bacteria, and now that bacteria is able to produce insulin in large amount. And why bacteria? Because bacteria can, bacteria, the revival time is like 20 minutes. So it is quite easy to regenerate the bacteria and grow it in large amount. So yeah, and also the biotechnological, these innovations have already been a part of our day-to-day lives. So they were very, and the importance, it was quite important during the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. So because of biotechnology, scientists were able to decipher the genome of the virus, and also in understanding how the human body or how the human immune system, it reacts to the COVID-19 virus. So yeah, so that is the difference. And I think there was one more question you asked me. What was that?
That was if
so you asked me, I think, some interesting story of invention and observation.
From your
Yeah.
research.
I completed my PhD in biotechnology. So I did my PhD in ISST Gauhati. And there I worked on bioactive secondary metabolites from actinomycetes. And I checked those activity against a wide range of human pathogens, like both fungus and bacteria. So, I will share just two interesting things which I came across. Like, for the first time, I have isolated and reported a novel antimicrobial compound, which is a phenolic compound. And for the first time, I have reported it as an antimicrobial agent. I feel really happy about it. And also, I have identified 4 novel bacteria from Pobitora National Park and Kaziranga Pobitora Wildlife Sanctuary and Kaziranga National Park of Assam. So yeah, those were 2 interesting observations from my PhD. And also during my postdoc, I have also isolated a novel anti-malarial molecule, which is far more better than the chloroquine, which we all use against malaria. So yeah.
Okay, great. So till now we get an idea about biotechnology. Now I want to know about the career in biotechnology. Can you give us a brief idea about the career in biotechnology in 3 sectors, like BSc, MSc, and PhD? Now all these 3, both within India and without India.
So if we look at the career options in biotechnology, so nowadays we see that many students opt for biotechnology. And it is both in India and also abroad. But I would say that the job opportunities in India and in abroad are pretty much the same. Only thing is that since the population of India is quite high, I think that is the reason why we see limited opportunities. But then for biotechnologies, like there are many biotech industries. There are also, you can say, many biotech companies, the pharma companies. Also, there are research institutes all over the world in India. If you look at like BSc level, so immediately, like if someone has done a BSc in India, BSc, so the job opportunities for him within and outside India are like he or she can join as a lab technician, or a clinical research associate, or many people they also go for medical representatives in companies. So research lab technician, they can do it in the research institutes. And also, like after MSc, like people can go as like senior medical scientist or biological or clinical technician. Also, there are like different job profiles like biotech product analyst, which you go for. I think in the food industry, you can go for that. So there are like many industries, but then to join all this, you should also keep in mind your main career options, like exactly what you want to do. You should also see that if all these job profiles match with your long-term career goals. So that is like quite important. And also like the job opportunities for people who have done PhD in biotechnology. So they can immediately join as a senior scientist in biotech industries, or in pharma companies. And also like in academia, you have the option to join as a lecturer or a professor, or you can also consider for higher studies like doing postdoc. Okay. So yeah, so these are some of the career like job opportunities options.
Okay. So one more thing I want to know, you just shared the job opportunities, and if I want to know the like higher studies opportunities, like the MSc, what are the good colleges in India and how to apply there, and what are the entrance exam? Give an overview on that.
So yeah, like if a student has completed their masters and then want to do a PhD within India, so like the higher education option is a PhD. So if someone wants to go for a PhD, so they should like if you want to do PhD from the national laboratories or national institutes across India, you should qualify either GATE or NET. So yeah, you should qualify this national entrance, or you can also qualify ICMR, the DBT exam. So yeah, there are also like for agriculture sector, if you want to work in the agriculture sector, you have to qualify the entrance exam, which is conducted by the IARI, so ICAR. So you should qualify all these national entrance, and only after that you are eligible to write the national entrance of those particular national laboratories or national institutes. And if you want to do your PhD in state universities, so you can apply to your state universities, like from the state where you belong. But I think for that you need to qualify SLATE exam. Okay. And the fellowship can be, I think, little less. But then if you have your own fellowship, like if you have qualified DBT or CSIR, you can still take up your PhD options in the state universities. And also if you want to come abroad, so the PhD approach in India and abroad is very, very different. Like, to get a PhD seat abroad, and that too, if it is fully funded. So you are competing for one PhD seat, you are competing with students from all over the world. Right. So, and here abroad, you should have a very good CV, a very good cover letter, a very good SOP, and you would need 2 letters of recommendation. So, you don't need like CV, obviously you need like, which is a particular pattern in India, but that does not work abroad because the approach, as I said, is quite different. So yeah, you need all these things, like there are certain tips and tricks. So you need to have really good CV, cover letter, SOP to get a fully funded PhD seat abroad.
Actually, one thing I have observed in HS students, so the students who are in like higher secondary, many of them don't have the mathematics, but they have biology, and they want to pursue their career in biotechnology. So is it possible to pursue career in biotechnology without mathematics?
So, like being from the life science background, even I was like really, really scared of maths. So during my school and even in high secondary, and I'm like, I cannot do maths, I cannot do maths. But then, like, when I opted for this subject, like my MSc is in molecular biology, my PhD is in biotechnology. I I got to know, like, you cannot get rid of maths. You need a bit of maths even in biotechnology. So, and especially, the branch of mathematics, I think statistics is very, very, very important for biological data analysis. Like if you are doing any experiment, every time you should do some statistical analysis, like to see if your result is significant or not. Like, you have to go for t-test, you have to go for ANOVA, mean, median, mode. They are like the most simplest thing. So if you don't know statistics, means you will never have a good publication, or it is difficult to even get a PhD without statistics. Also, like, if we look at maths, like there are like some simple calculations, but then you need to really be good in those particular things. Like, if you want to calculate like the number, suppose you are working on drug discovery, and then you have a particular drug with you, and you want to treat some cells, like be it bacterial cells or some cancer cells. You want to treat a particular number of cells against that drug. Now you cannot, because the cells are microscopic, it is not possible to count the cells like 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. So there are certain calculations that are associated with it if you really want to see the effect of the drug on the particular number of cells. So yes, no, you can't get rid of maths. Maths is always always there, but I not very high standard maths, but yeah, you need a bit of maths.
Okay, great. And being a student of statistics, I also feel proud when you say that statistics needs. Yeah.
Yeah, because like I have seen labs across India and also abroad. Like I have been working in the UK, I have worked in 2 research institutes. So we all in every department there is a biostatistician. So they have an appointment of biostatistician, so that he or she can help people with the biostatistics, because some of the statistics are so difficult, like it is very difficult for us even to understand. So he or she is always there to help the students to get the work done, or like to guide us, like if we need any help in statistics. So yeah, biostatisticians are very, very, very important source.
Okay. Okay. Great. Now I want to know, like during MSc, when I'm doing BSc or MSc in biotechnology, and in that time period, we should have some good, we should have participated in some internship program. So can you give us some idea on the what are the good internship program, how to approach that? Give some tips on that point for the students who are in BSc, MSc.
So yeah, like uh, because if you want to go for higher studies, or if you want to work in a company after your masters, or you want to go to a good research institutes for your PhD, so generally, like in biotechnology, we have our work is wet lab. It is not only that we do in the computer, because most of our research work, it involves doing experiments in the lab. So it is always better to get like more hands-on experience as possible. So there are a lot of internship opportunities in the national labs and industries in India. So I have, like I almost see daily like so many internship opportunities in IIT, in ICER, in different industries, where they offer internships for maybe 1 month. Some of them offer for 2 months. So you should like definitely go for these internships, and then see like whatever, suppose if your long term goal is to work on drug discovery, so just try to find out, like what skill sets you require for that particular field. You suppose you require at least 5 skill sets, at least try to gain 3 before you do any PhD application, or before you apply for a job. So these internships are very, very important to gain those hands on experience. And also I would say, like when you go for an internship, it is very important to be curious and to learn new experiments. Like you should be enthusiastic all the time. And these internships also give an opportunity to go for higher studies. And also you can, that's what, you can gain as much skill sets as you require. And now and also, like nowadays, like there are many certification courses available. So you even in online, or like even Harvard, MIT, they give some free certification courses. So many people even go for the certification courses instead of the internships. Even that helps, because when you make a PhD application, there are certain like points, essential qualification, where they ask about some certification courses. Even I think students can look into that aspect as well. And yeah, some internships can be paid, some internships can be like like self funded, like you don't have to pay, but you won't get any stipend out of it. So I would say, like at this stage, like you just see which is more important to you. If the financial is more important to you, financial aid, then go for paid internships. If you think like the main important thing to consider at that point is like to try as many skill sets as possible, so definitely go for the free internships. And also, yeah, like if you don't see the advertisement, you can also directly write to the professors across the across India, like different professors. You can write to them, you can show your interest that you want to work in their lab. So yeah, even then, like many professors, they take interns in their laboratories for like 2 months or something like that.
Great. So you have already mentioned about the MS and PhD application in Europe. You already mentioned some point. So I want to know in detail, more detail on that. So can you put some light on that? What are the key points students should keep in mind before applying? And when they are searching for a particular institute to apply, and what are the points they should keep in mind?
Yes. So, like I'm quite active on LinkedIn, and almost every day I receive like so many messages from the students that, he or she wants to go for a PhD in Europe or UK or US or Australia. So, and the thing is, like in most of the students I have seen, like if I ask, what is your research interest? So they will just say biotechnology. So biotechnology cannot be a research interest. It is a huge field. So first of all, you should identify what is your research interest. So what particular field you want to work in? Like in biotechnology, you want to work on, suppose, like plant pathogens, or you want to see what are the mechanism of action of a particular bacteria on some plant disease. So you can work on that. Or maybe you want to work on drug discovery against human pathogens, that is another field. Or you might want to work on cancer research. So you, first of all, you need to identify, that is the first thing, like wherever you want to do your PhD, Europe, US, India, anywhere, first of all, you need to identify your area of research interest. And like you have to see what are your career goals. You want to be a scientist, or no, you want to be a senior scientist, and then you want to be a professor. So always see that your career goals are in line with your research interest. So accordingly, first of all, it is very important to identify that particular research interest. So this will take time. This is not a two days, like within 2 days you come up with a research interest. No, because why I am mentioning this is I have also seen students who ask me, like, ma'am, what is my area of research interest? I am like, am I supposed to know that? I don't even know who you are, and you are asking me what should be your area of research interest. Like, I feel that is like quite funny. And then they are like, okay, ma'am, I have just 2 days to submit this PhD application, so please tell me what is my research interest. I don't know. So like, so identifying the research interest, it takes time. So be patient and read different research papers, see what interests you. So that is the first point. Second point is that you need to shortlist the labs where you want to go for a PhD in that particular research area. So this is also something that you should do. You means the students, I mean here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is also something like the students should do, like shortlisting the labs. So how can you shortlist the labs? So you can directly look at the institutes, the good institutes in Europe, and then see like if there are any labs which are already working in your field of interest, or else you can read research papers and then see like from where the authors have published the paper. Even that gives a faster idea of like shortlisting the research institutes. And also I would say like one key point to consider is like before you apply for any PhD position, it is very important to do a bit of research on the professor with whom you want to do your PhD, and also the lab, like to see if there are the resources or the facilities available for your research in that particular lab. Also you can see that if the professor has any link, like he is associated with the media, because abroad, like if people they do good research, they're always associated with media. Like they highlight their or they bring out their research to the general public. So see if your professor is already in the media. Also, before, all the PhDs in Europe are not fully funded. So before applying for any PhD position, look at the financial thing. Look at the funding. If the PhD is fully funded or partially funded or self-funded. Because few days back, like I got an email from a student who has got his PhD in Oxford, but then his PhD is not fully funded, and he is like, can I apply for fellowship? But then you don't have that much time. So before considering any making any application, look at the funding opportunities. And also most of the countries in Europe and UK, they require English test, which is like GRE or TOEFL or IELTS. So before you make this formal application, it is very important to clear this English test. So only then your applications are shortlisted sometimes. So if you need to write the test, just don't be scared, write it, and then like start applying for the PhD positions. So yeah, like I think these are some of the key points to consider before applying for
Yeah,
PhD.
yeah. And I think this is a very helpful points you have mentioned. So, Priyanka, the work you are doing mainly in biotechnology, it is heavily dependent on the practical experiment, which is mostly
Yes.
lab-based. And you also experience both the lab system and also the education system, both in India and UK. So, I want to know from you that a comparative view of these two, and where in India we can improve and we can implement that thing.
Yes. So, I have worked in different labs across India. I have worked in Mysore, I have worked in Delhi, I have worked in Guwahati. And after that, I came to the UK, where I have worked in Cardiff University and LSTM. So yes, like since biotechnology is like everything is like practical experiment based, but like not bioinformatics is also a part of is also a branch of biology. So that doesn't have that has mainly dry lab, that requires mainly dry lab expertise. But yes, like since it is like lab based, so there are like certain things which I have seen, like difference in research in India and also in the UK. So first thing is the collaboration. So the research in UK is like almost all the research labs are collaborative. So UK research has collaborations with industry partners, with hospitals, with institutes across UK or across different continents. So why this is like very important is, suppose I am working in the field of drug discovery. So in drug discovery, like, suppose I have isolated a particular compound which has antimicrobial activity. And now I want to test that drug in patients or something. So I have to be associated with, my work has to be associated with the hospitals. And also why industry partners? Because in industry, they will scale up. They'll scale up my product, and then like they will do the mass screening and all. So which is not possible, like in India, like we don't see too much of this collaborative research with the industry partners and also hospitals. So I think collaborative research should be, given to very much importance to bring out good research in India. Also there is if we look at funding, so in UK there is like proper funding. You don't need to worry about funding in the UK, but in India, like there are funding constraints sometimes like the student is not getting funded, or there is less funding coming from like the funding bodies like CSIR or DST or DBT. The funds are not released in time, ICMR. So that becomes quite difficult, like if you're doing good research. And another thing I would like to tell you, like here in the UK, I have worked with two wonderful supervisors, and I have seen that they are very much clear about the objectives of the project. So which I think is like even that needs to be done in India as well. So you need to be like the focus should be like very clear, like we have started here, we that is the end point, so this is the step. Obviously you can collaborate with others and do some other stuff, but this has to be the main focus.
Right.
So yeah. And also the studies in the UK, the research in the UK, it involves a lot of public engagement. So whatever, like even in my project, I am engaged with a lot of people who are like the layman. So I discuss with them my science, and then that there that gap is not much between the society and the research, which I think in India there is a large gap, like between research and the general public. So that can be minimized with a lot of public engagements. So because there are wonderful labs in India, like doing wonderful work, I think it is also necessary that whatever work we are doing goes to the public, because ultimately that is like the taxpayers money. So it is also our responsibility towards the society to tell them exactly what we have been doing. So I think that research gap can be minimized with a lot of public engagement. So yeah, these are like some of the points that I have analyzed during this one year.
Yeah, and I completely agreed with you. Like the point you have mentioned, when I am doing a research, that research, but that application of that research thing, that research application of that in ground level, we are lacking there. So on that
Yes.
point, we have to work with the industry. We have to work with the common people. How can we bring that in a ground level?
That's right. Because, like we have to make aware to the public
Yeah,
what we are doing, why
right,
research is important, why science is important.
right,
Suppose even in COVID pandemic, like it was so difficult for the people to make them understand why hygiene is important, why good hygiene is important. It is because obviously people won't understand in a day. It requires a lot of time. And then
mm,
like if this was done from before, I think it would have been quite easier for the people to understand that the importance of hygiene, or like why what are microorganisms or something like that. Like that is what you require, a lot of public engagement.
okay. Now the second point I want to know from you, like practical education, as we meant talking about the practical lab about the biotechnology, similar in a similar way. The practical education in the school level, how practical education by learning from experiment, how this is important to create an innovative mindset in the students.
Yeah, like that's what I think like 2 years back, like the government of India mentioned that they are going to incorporate practical learning in the school education. So what I feel is like in theoretical learning, uh, even theoretical learning is very important because it gives you a foundation. It
Yeah.
gives you a foundation in understanding a particular subject. Whereas when you do practical learning in school, so, this in practical learning, you get an opportunity to apply what you have learned in theory. You can apply that. You can apply that and see, like, whatever you have studied. Oh, I am applying that. So that gives, by that you can develop like critical thinking. You also develop the problem solving ability, and also you like gain hands on experience. I think this practical learning also is very important because here a student can make a decision as to what he wants to do in his life, or which career he has to choose. It is like, you are doing some experiment in the lab, and then like you decide, oh, I want to go and study physics, or no, I want to study engineering, or no, I don't want to study engineering, maybe I want to go to medicine, or maybe I want to become an artist. So that becomes very clear when you have this practical learning thing. So that becomes very clear in shaping your life and your career, I feel. And also, like, practical learning can be like laboratory experiments, or it can be like field trips, it can be some group projects, or it can also be like some volunteering work or internships. So I think, like, really this helps a student to choose his or her path very wisely.
Yeah, yeah, great point. Okay. So, lastly, I want to know from you about mental health, which is a very critical thing for the students. And
Yeah.
you also did the journey like in PhD. So I want to know from you, from your experience, how mental health is important mainly for the PhD students, and how one should tackle that.
So yeah, like, I was really blessed to have a wonderful supervisor and a wonderful lab. So I was blessed in that. But the thing is, like, PhD can be fun, and also it can be stressful. Why? Because it involves a lot of time, it involves critical thinking. PhD is all about passion for research. Like, if you are not passionate about doing research, and if you have come to the PhD only for, like, you don't have a job, or you're looking for financial stability for 3 4 years, only then if you are coming for a PhD, definitely this is going to be very, very stressful. So if you love research and if you're passionate about it, I think PhD can be fun. So the main, like, if you talk about mental health, so the main reasons, first of all, we have to know about the reasons, what is causing the stress during PhD. So this can be, like, working for long hours, you are not getting a result, so you work continuously on that. But then that is why it is called research. Keep on searching again and again
Yeah.
and again. So yeah, and also sometimes you have to meet a particular deadline, and then you are not able to produce that result on time, so that again leads to stress. There is experimental failures. There is also, like, pressure to produce significant research in a particular point of time, otherwise, your financial aid will be stopped, or you will not be getting stipend. Also, like, many PhD students, they also have stress due to low stipend, or there is a high cost of living in certain cities in India. So even that contributes to a lot of stress. So, like, stress can be also, like, some, for girls, what I have faced is like, even we have pressure from the society, also sometimes from the family, like, it's time to get married, like, do your PhD fast. So yeah, but then, like, what I feel is just focus on what you want in life. Like, people will keep on saying, just focus on what you want to do in life. And if you are going in the right direction, so if you think that properly, I think it is easier to handle stress. So first thing is, like, to handle stress, there it is always important to have a life outside of your research. So it is like, you just need to think like, PhD is not equal to your life. PhD is just a part of life. So try to have a hobby outside of your research. So this is very, very, very important. Like, you can go for cycling, you can, like, do some drawings. I have many friends, like, who do very good artwork. You can do some embroidery, do some cooking. So have a life outside of your research. And also try to get enough sleep, exercise daily, eat well. First, the most important thing for a PhD student is to learn how to manage time effectively. So this is very important. So do some, whenever you do any work, prepare some realistic goals, like small goals, and see that if you are able to achieve that within 1 month, 2 months. Don't make a 6 month goal. Like, make it like short goals, like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Make some realistic goals and try to, you know, achieve those goals. Sometimes you may fail, but it's okay, like, keep trying for it. And also, like, establish a healthy work life balance. As I said, like, this you can do only if you have a hobby outside of your life. It's also sometimes important to take a break whenever you need. Suppose you have been working too hard from past 1 year or maybe 6 months or 3 months. If you really think like you need a break, just take a break. Take a break, go out for a movie, connect with people, go out for a coffee. So all these things, I think it really reduces stress. And also, like, sometimes it's even like speaking about your problems, your research problem or your personal problem with your family, with your peers. This also helps, like, whenever, because it makes you feel lighter. And then also, unknowingly, you might have a support system. You might find a support system within your peers or your family who can help you reduce the feeling of isolation, the feeling of loneliness. And also, like, yeah, so these are like certain, I think these are tips which I have like noticed and analyzed in different students from in even in UK, even in India. So yeah. And I have, yeah, one more thing I would like to mention is like there is a good work life balance in Europe. I have seen that. So yeah, like even if you're a PhD student, I have seen here like they give very much importance to mental health. And also, like, I have seen all the PhD students, they have a life outside of their PhD life, which is very, very important.
Yeah, great. So, journey from Assam to LSTM is not an easy, I know. So, from that journey, please share some final tips for the student from your life journey and who are mainly from Assam, who want to pursue their career in biotechnology or want to pursue their career in abroad. So, please give some tips, life lessons for them.
So yeah, like, I don't have like too many lessons or something, but I would say, like, when you are into science, uh, or when you are in research, so science is all about approaching a problem, and you have to approach the problem with an open mind. So you have to be very willing to explore new ideas. You have to be enthusiastic in like learning new things. And then sometimes it might seem challenging, but it's okay. It's okay. Just keep on like thinking about it. Like, there is a lot of critical thinking that is involved in science, and clearly communicate your science with the general public. Like, try to see, like, if you are able to explain your science to the general public, if they are able to understand and they can associate with you. So, and also, yeah, like in science, I would say never stop asking questions. Like, whenever you are in science, you should always be curious. Like, why this has happened? Why am I doing this? Oh, if I do this, what is going to happen? How am I going to do this? So, all these questions should, like, it should never stop. It is always, because science is all about curiosity. Like, you want to know more and more and more. And yeah, and also, like, because as I said, like, research is like, you don't do an experiment at once and you get the result. So it is like keep on searching again and again. So science research is definitely full of challenges. And then I feel like each failure is an opportunity to learn your approach. Okay, to learn from your approach. So, like, don't be discouraged from these challenges. So there is always a chance to improve and grow. And also, like, try to network with people, try to collaborate with people, discuss with them your ideas, like, learn as many skill sets as possible. So yeah, like, these are, like, I think you need all these things if you are in science or if you are in biotechnology.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Priyanka ji, for this insightful session. I think this will be very helpful for the students. So thanks a lot for managing time.
Thank you so much for having me here. I really enjoyed this session.
Thank you.
And yeah, like, I am on LinkedIn as Priyanka Sharma. So if anyone would like to connect to me and ask me about like how to go for PhD abroad, or what are the things that you require any help with, CV or cover letter, so yeah, you can like directly
Yeah,
DM
and
me.
I will also add the LinkedIn profile in my description box so student can check that also.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.